Hi, I'm Roamy. Today I'm going to show you how to use the Artipoppe Zeitgeist to carry a young baby and also to carry a almost 1-year-old. Now here I've got the Zeitgeist carrier, and when you first get it, your younger baby, you'll want to adjust the width. Now this carrier doesn't fit from newborn. It generally fits from around 4 months old. It will depend on obviously how big your newborn was at birth, but you'll generally find even if they were bigger at birth, you're going to need to wait till probably about 3 months. If they were a kind of average size, maybe a little bit smaller, 4 months or maybe later. But I will show you what checks to do to ensure that baby is held safely and securely. So we're presuming your little one is 3 or 4 months old and they will fit the carrier. So here I've got the carrier and I've actually already got it adjusted, but I'm going to show you how you adjust it. So if you look at the waistband here, it's the bit with the big label on, you'll see that there are poppers on the inside. So on here you can adjust how wide it is. So you're going to undo the poppers and slide them across right the way to the narrowest setting. So you slide it across on the webbing here and you popper it together so it's on the narrowest setting. So it'll look at about that width. So once it's done up, you should be able to see 1, 2, 3 poppers. Hopefully you can see that. You should be able to see 3 poppers, which are the wider width. So you adjust it on both sides so it's sat evenly. Now if your carrier is new, you want to just unravel any of the webbing. So I'm going to do this up around my middle. Now for a younger baby, you're going to want to wear this really quite high. So for women, it's generally up underneath your boobs, but for men, then it's kind of partly around your torso. Basically, the higher you put the waistband, the shorter the panel will go over baby's back. So I find tightening this up in front like that is easier than trying to pull it behind. So swivel it right round to the front, tighten it up and then bring it back round. Now you want it to sit so it's snug but not uncomfortable, so it's like tight like a belt, and make sure it's sitting evenly left to right so you've got the same amount of panel either side here. Okay, round like that. So I've now got this hanging down, and as you can see this is really nice and high on me. Now the reason why wearing it higher shortens the panel is when you hold baby with their head on your chest, their bottom will be slightly over this panel. Now the higher the panel is on you, the more fabric will be between you, and therefore the shorter the panel will go when it goes up over their back. So you will need to play about with it depending on how long baby's torso is, but if you start with it fairly high like this, we can then adjust it if we need to make it a little bit lower. So I've got this nice and snug around here, this sitting nice and even. Check your straps are undone, and again just check that there isn't any webbing tidied away here. So this elastic here goes over to tidy the webbing away, so just check it's all unravelled and these straps are straight. Now on the front here you've got this folded down panel with little buttons on the side there. For a smaller baby, so from around maybe 3 or 4 months, you may need to fold this in to close the gap behind your neck. So what I'm doing is I'm undoing the buttons, and instead of it being folded onto the outside, I'm going to fold it round onto the inside and button it up on there. So it just will close that gap behind their neck just to make sure it's nice and snug when they're in the carrier. Again, this will depend on your baby and also on your build. So it will depend on how broad you are as to whether you need to do that or not. So if you feel like it's too snug behind their neck, we can always fold it out. So we've got the carrier all set up now. So we've got the straps hanging straight. This piece I've folded in, sitting nice and high and narrow. So it's now time to pick up your baby. Now, my demo doll is around a 4-month-old size. See, babies all vary. So as I said, you may need to wait until sort of around 4 months. You may find they fit it a little bit sooner, but it's unlikely baby will fit it anytime before 3 months unless they are exceptionally long or kind of very big for their age. Okay, so all you're going to do is give baby a cuddle with their head on your upper chest. You want it under your chin, but again, if you're female, above your boobs, so you want it on your upper chest up here, and make sure their bottom is sitting quite a long way over that panel. So their bottom's here. You can see I've got quite a lot of panel between me and them. And then just have their little legs going just either side of the panel. Now normally from around 3 months old, they start to wrap their legs around you. Baby may still be quite curled together. If they are, then just make sure you've just brought 1 foot either side, but you're not overextending their hips. So now I've got baby in position, I can now bring the carrier up. You can support their head with your chin and then keep the other arm underneath their bottom. So you're going to slide your hand under the panel like this, slide it underneath and bring it up over their bottom and back so you're holding them across their shoulders. Now this isn't quite high enough at the minute, that's okay, because we can bring it higher once they're in. It's much easier to bring the panel up higher than it is to get it lower. So you're going to bring this up over their shoulder and bottom, their bottom and shoulders, and make sure you're holding them across their shoulders rather than their bottom. Their weight is taken by the carrier. So I've got this over here. I'm going to put one strap over one shoulder, so it goes straight over. Hold them with the other hand and put the other strap over the other shoulder. So at this stage, just check you're happy that their legs are sitting comfortably, their little knees are tucked towards you rather than bending backwards, and check you're happy with their height. So keep one hand over their shoulders, and with the other you're going to reach around your waist and grab the strap on the opposite side, so this one here. Now this is really important, you're going to put it straight down to the ground first. Can you see that shifting over my shoulder? Put it straight down first before you do anything else. Then bring it across, and then with the hand that's holding baby, you can take the clip and clip that in. And you're going to pull that straight backwards. So if you need to bring it any tighter, just bring that down from behind and then pull that back. Now it's important you pull it down firstly because it will lock it in place on your shoulder, but secondly it will bring all the slack around your buckle. So when you tighten it, you'll be tightening the strap but not their stomach. So make sure that side is nice and snug, and then we'll do exactly the same on the other. So hold them with the other hand, reach around behind and grab the strap on this side, like that. And you're going to bring it straight down towards the ground. So that locks it in place on your shoulder, and by pulling it straight down, they are held really snug, so you can actually let go. So just make sure it's nice and snug. I'm going to put my hand back on them here, and then bring this around and clip it in around here. And again, just going to bring the elastic out of the way. It has these little elastic bits. I'm going to show you how you tuck them around in a minute. Clip that in, and then pull that straight backwards. So if you pull it straight back as soon as you've clipped it in, these will stay snug on your shoulders. Now, just quickly tell you about those elastic bits here. There's a little bit of elastic here, which hopefully you can see. If you just pop that over the buckle, once you've clipped it in, it's a little safety thing, just in case the buckles weren't done up quite right. It means if they came undone, it is still held together. Right, so key things are that firstly, you can see baby's face and they've got nice clear airways, which this one has. You want to make sure they're nice and snug so they can't slump, and check their legs are sitting comfortably, their little knees kind of tucked in. If they've got footed sleep suits on, just take the fabric at the toes and just bring it away from the toes just to make sure there's no pressure on their feet. You may just need to kind of bring it round, or obviously have things without feet. So those are the key safety things. Now, with a younger baby, if they haven't got head control, you want the carrier to be up to their earlobe, but no higher. So if it's not quite going up to there, if you take the front edge here and give a gentle bounce, can you see that's just brought that up quite a lot higher very easily. So I'm just literally just giving a gentle bounce to bring the fabric up and round between me and baby. So you want it no higher than the nape of their neck or their earlobe. Now, once they've got head control, you can have this right the way down to their armpits, so down to here, but never any lower than armpits. So it does depend on your baby and whether they've got head control or not, where you sit at the top edge of the carrier, but you don't ever want it higher than the earlobe because you want to ensure they've got nice clear air circulation and they can breathe unobstructed. But the main safety things are, can you see their face and have they got clear airways? Are they nice and snug so they can't slump? That's the main safety things. Now, if you're not sure if they're tight enough, this is a really good way to check. If you rest your hand against the back of their head, just gently lean forward, their body shouldn't pull away from you. If it does, just bring any slack from one strap over your shoulder. So I'm just literally lifting this over my shoulder, and then bring that excess round here, and then you're going to tighten it straight back. And then do the same with this. So you're not kind of like lifting it up, you're just literally lifting it over. Bring any slack round and tighten it straight back. And that again will tighten the straps, but not their stomach. Now you can see I've folded this top edge in, which I do need for this little one, just to give a little bit more snugness around behind here, so it is secure across their shoulders. But you may find, depending on your baby and your body shape, that you don't need that, so you could fold it out if you want to. But yes, again, check you can see their face and they've got clear airways, they're nice and snug, and then just check their legs are sitting comfortably with their little knees tucked in, and then just bring their fabric away from their toes. Now with all these bits, if you don't want them hanging around, once you've got it all set, you can take it and you can roll it up. So what you do is you fold over the webbing and you just roll it up. I'm not going to do it too short because I won't be able to reach, but you can roll it up as much or as little as you want, and then you pass this elastic back over the webbing. And what that does is it neatly tidies it away. You can do that on both sides, and you can also do it on your waistband too. Obviously, if you're sharing it with somebody else, you may not want to tighten it too much. If it's just you wearing it, you may want to get it all neatly tidied away. Depending on how flexible your arms are, you might find it easier to do that when it's not on you. So once you've taken it off, just because doing all that behind you can be a little bit difficult, but it's entirely up to you. You can, of course, leave them loose if you want to. So that is how to use the carrier with a 3 or 4 month old facing inwards. I'm now going to show you how to use the carrier with a much larger child. So to get this one out, I'm going to do basically reverse what I did. So hold them across their shoulders and unclip one side. Oh, bring my elastic back over first, like that. And then hold them with the other hand, unclip this side, and again bring that elastic over so it's not holding it there, and then gently bring these off my shoulders, hold baby on the inside, and you can lift them out. Right, I'm now going to adjust the carrier for an older child. I'm just going to unravel the elastic here just to make it a bit easier, because obviously with an older child you'll need these straps a bit looser. So the main adjustment you need to do to the carrier itself is you need to make it wider. Now, how wide it is will depend on how long your baby's legs are. So I'm going to adjust it to not the very tightest position. I'm going to do it to 1 off. So I've got 3 poppers done up, but there's still 1 at the end. So if you have a look there, I've still got 1 popper left undone. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Now, it's a little bit of a kind of trial and error as to whether you need to have it on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th of those. It's better to have it slightly too narrow than too wide. So if you're ever not sure, it's better to leave it as it is than to overextend their legs. There will obviously be lots of width that will fit comfortably, but yes, if you're not sure, don't ever go wider than knee to knee on your baby. So I've made that wider, so you can see now that's quite a bit wider, and I'm going to clip it around. Now, with a younger baby, I had this really high. As they get bigger, obviously their torso gets longer, so you can move this down lower. Now, how low you sit it will depend on, firstly, your body shape and how long your torso is, but also how tall your baby is. Now, I've got quite a short torso, so I need to wear fairly low. Obviously, if I had a longer torso, I could wear it quite high. And obviously, there's also personal preference too. So some people like wearing a carrier down on their hips. Other people prefer having it up on their waist. So there is quite a bit of flexibility with where it sits as they get bigger. Also, some people are quite happy having their head a bit higher. Other people want it a bit lower. Anyway, I'm wearing this down sort of just below my waist. So it's starting to sit down on my hips. Make sure when you tighten it, it sits level front to back and it's not tipping forward, because if it tips forward, what it will do is it will put pressure on your lower back. And again, just make sure it's nice and snug. You can either tighten it behind or you can swivel it round to the front and tighten it in front. Now, I've got that sitting snug. I've got it sitting evenly either side. So it's sitting nice and comfortably. And I'm now going to pick up my bigger child. So this doll is around the size of a 1-year-old. So you can see I'm holding them with the head on my upper chest again, and their legs will be wrapping around like this. Okay, so always make sure, just like with a younger baby, make sure their bottom is slightly over the panel rather than above it. If you have them above it, what will happen is it will push it away from you. But by having a little bit of the panel between you and them, it will give a really nice scoop that their bottom sits in. So make sure you get them in position first before you do anything with the carrier. So legs wrapping around, head on your chest. I'm just going to pop the little arms around like that. And then you're going to slide your hand under the panel and stroke it up over their bottom and back so you're holding them across their shoulders. Now, one thing I've forgotten to do, so just make sure you do this with your child, is if you've got this piece turned in for a little one, much sooner than this, you would have undone it and flapped it around to the outside. So probably don't do this one. You've got a wriggly toddler in your arms, but my doll doesn't tend to move, so that's okay. I'm just going to undo this from around here and fold it to the outside, and then I'm going to do it up around there. So you normally need to leave that folded in maybe for a month or so. Again, you may not need to do it when they're little, depending on your shape, but you certainly would have had it folded out by now. So, oops. Okay, right, let's bring that right around. Okay, we're all good. Right, so you're going to slide this up over their bottom and back so you're holding them across their shoulders. Now, like I said, with the smaller baby, you can have it up to their armpits or the nape of their neck, depending on if they want arms in or arms out, but never any lower than their armpits. So I am going to do it to their armpits just to show you that. But obviously, if you want it higher, you can just bring the fabric panel up, bounce it a little bit higher. So I'm going to have arms out. So I've got their arm over the top and put one strap over one shoulder. Hold them with the other hand. Put the little arm over the top. Now, obviously, with a real child, they can put their arms over. You're not going to have to necessarily maneuver them. They can do it themselves. So I've got one strap over either shoulder. Again, check that they're sitting comfortably. You've got the same amount of leg either side. If you've got a mirror, have a look in a mirror. or just have a feel that their legs are sitting comfortably with their knees coming towards you. Okay, one over either shoulder. Keep holding them again across their back or shoulders. You don't need to support their bottom because the carrier is holding that. So just keep one hand over the top, and then you're going to reach round and grab the one on the opposite side. Put it straight down towards the ground. Now you may need to give a little bounce if they're a bit heavier. Straight down towards the ground, bring it round, and you clip that in above their knee. So it's a very similar principle as they get bigger to when they were little. It's just you're wearing it lower, and you may find you need to bounce a little bit just to get the slack out. Now can you see that still moving quite a bit? So I'm just going to reach around here, bring this down and around, done a full turn, and tighten it up. So again, you're tightening the strap, not their stomach. So get that first one snug, then hold baby with the opposite hand, reach around, grab this one and put it straight down towards the ground. Again, give a little bounce, just brings that slack around and around, and then you're going to clip it in, bring my elastic over the top, clip that in and pull it straight back to tighten. So just pop my elastic over. Now I've done that on both sides, that one's already over. Okay, so key things are, once they're older and they've got full head control, check you can see their face again. You obviously don't want this over their head. Make sure this top edge is no lower than their armpits, but no higher than the nape of their neck. So they can have arms out, but no lower than their armpits. And make sure they're really, really nice and snug. Now, for a younger baby, the snugness is to make sure they can't slump. As they're older, it's to make sure, firstly, they can't come out, but also so it doesn't put any strain on your shoulders, because if they're a little bit loose, it's going to really, really pull on your shoulders. So make sure they're really nice and snug against you. Again, if you want to check they're nice and secure, support them across their head, gently lean forward and check their body doesn't come away from you. So once you've done your safety checks, just check they're sitting comfortably with the same amount of leg either side. It's called an M position because you want it to go from one knee to the other, so the lower leg hangs straight down, and you never want it any wider than their knee pits. So you always want the lower leg to be able to swing freely. If it is a bit too wide, obviously move it to the narrower setting. If they have got a sleep suit on, just bring the fabric away from the toes at the end so there's no pressure on their toes, and just check they're sitting so they've got a nice curve, their little knees tucked up above bottom, gentle curve to their spine. So that is how to use the Zeitgeist with a older child on your front. And if you look on the back, it should be sitting nice and comfortably, particularly given we brought the strap straight down before we brought it around. Obviously, if they do want to put their arms in, they can do this themselves. They can tuck their arms in like that, particularly if say they want to go to sleep. Obviously my doll can't move its own arms, but your baby will be able to. So they can tuck their arms in if they want to. And if you did want to bring this higher when they were in, just give a gentle bounce, just like we did with the younger baby. And what that does is it brings it up a bit higher. So say they've just snuggled in to go to sleep, you can bring that up. You can fold this up, but make sure if you're going to bring it up over them, say they're asleep, just do it over the back of their head if you want to give a bit of support so it doesn't go anywhere near their nose. So you could just put that over the back of their head like that if you wanted to, and do it up to that bottom there. If you are going to do both sides, just make sure it doesn't come up any higher than their earlobe, so just like when they were little, because if you did do it on both sides, if I show you, can you see that will obstruct their airways? So either only do one side up and leave the other one done up, or if you are going to bring both up, make sure that top edge is still coming up no higher than their earlobe. So for this little one, I'd probably leave it down like that. And if you are putting it up and down, you can leave it undone. You don't have to do it up, you can leave it down like that. So that's how to use the Zeitgeist with an older child. To take them out, just the same as we did with the last one. So just bring your elastic back over, like that, and unclip. And bring your elastic back over on that side, and unclip. Still got it round. There we go. And then carefully bring that off over your shoulders and lift your child out. I hope that was helpful.